Hey, this is the SNARS monthly meeting presentation for Saturday, December 7th, 2024. K6ST Barry, your host. We have Pete, AE6ZIW. Pete is with the Mount Ballard Amateur Radio Club, which is plus or minus the size of SNARS. It's down in the East Bay of San Francisco. And a couple of things. One is Pete's going to take us on a beautiful photo journey today. It's just fantastic with a lot of slides. He's going to move quickly through it and give you a few comments. I met Pete. I was thinking about this, Pete. It was over 20 years ago, I would say, and maybe more like 26 or 7 years ago. I think it was 1998. I was living in the Bay Area. I helped put on the Alcatraz swim. These crazy guys jump in the water off a ferry. They swim back to San Francisco. Sometimes we jokingly say they get pushed out the gate. They don't get pushed out that far. Sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes it's brutal. But I met Pete early on and we become friends. And I helped to do some things on Pacificon. So Pete had put together some just phenomenal pictures. He'll tell you about them. And I thought this would be a great thing to do. So Pete, it's all yours. Take her away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm Pete Harris, KE6ZIW. And thank you, Barry. I want to thank Barry and SNARS for inviting me today. As Barry said, I'm a member of the Mount Diablo Amateur Radio Club. I'll refer to it as MDARC, Mount Diablo Amateur Radio Club, MDARC. Yeah, as Barry said, he and I met at a long time ago when Barry was the ham radio coordinator and organizer for the Escape from Alcatraz swim, where about over 1,000 swimmers would be ferried out to a location next to Alcatraz Island, and at the blow of the ship's horn would jump into the water, and then eventually would begin to swim to shore. And the current would take them out the Golden Gate Bridge, so they had to aim for a different place than where they were actually going to. Otherwise, they'd be pushed out the Golden Gate Bridge. And ham radio operators were in a bunch of different boats, large, small, kayaks, all different sizes boats, surrounding the swimmers and helping guide them and being there for emergencies in case they happened. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about the ham radio convention that my club has organized since the early 1990s. It's called Pacificon.
Hey, Pete, hold on just can you open your
Yeah.
camera again? Somehow it went on.
I'll start my video.
There you go. Thank you. So go ahead, continue.
Okay. So Pacificon is a ham radio convention that occurs every year. Since the early 90s, it's been run and organized by the Mount Diablo Amateur Radio Club with some help from a lot of other people and some other clubs. Real quick story of how I became interested in becoming a ham. I became a ham in my 50s, but I was fascinated with radio since I was a little boy. There was no TV, there was only radio, and these magic voices would come out of this wooden box that my parents had, and it was like magic. It was really like magic. And then my dad told me a story that forever made me fascinated with ham radio. My family's Jewish, and they had to escape from Croatia in 1941 when Hitler's forces came into Croatia. They escaped one night in a very daring way. They were on the run for about 3 years in Italy. Got lots of help from wonderful, great Italian people while Italy was aligned with the Nazis during that time. And what my dad told me when I was about 4 or 5 years old is that radio helped save their lives, the lives of my dad and my mother, because they would listen at nighttime to shortwave radio from London, which gave them information about where the front lines were in Italy, down in southern Italy, where it took them 3 years to eventually get across the front lines into areas that had been freed by the Allied forces. So My dad told me when I was 4 or 5 years old that radio helped save their lives, and I've forever been fascinated with radio. So today we're going to quickly go through what it says on this slide, the many stories of Pacificon 2024. All kinds of things happen at this convention. It goes on for 3 days. It was October 18th through the 20th. Goes on for 3 days, and lots of different things happen. One of the very important contributors to this year's Pacificon was your president, Barry Bettman. Um, he was the coordinator and the organizer for the great forums that we have at Pacificon, and Barry did just an amazing job with setting up forums and contacting people and getting really fascinating topics. Forums were mostly filled with people. It was great. Barry did an amazing job, and it's the first time he's done that with Pacificon. Maybe he's done that in other places, but he did a fantastic job. Okay, we're quickly going to go through pictures, a lot of photos, and I'm going to try to narrate, especially at the beginning. It's mostly people, and so I'll go really fast during that part. So here we go. It takes place at the San Ramon Marriott Hotel. Um, we've been there now consistently for at least the past 12 years. We've been other places in the past. There's the lobby. The official sponsor of the convention is the ARRL. They help out, but it's mostly put together by our club, by MDARC. These are some of the folks involved in registration when visitors come in. By the way, my wife is the rightmost person. She was helping with registration. There are people coming in. This is the part where people who have not yet paid are coming in and paying. Then we have a different place where folks who already have bought their registration come in. By the way,
Yeah, I have a comment on that picture, leave it up. So notice on the right-hand side, John Bigley, who's our section manager in Nevada, with the coffee cups. So I guess per Pete, he hasn't paid yet. Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Very good. Okay, there's Jim Marchetti, who was our chairperson for registration this year. It was his first year doing that. He did an amazing job. Kathy Walton, my wife. This is the group that takes folks in who have already paid online and are just checking in. They get their badges. This is the president of MDARC, Larry Bradley. Some volunteers. There is an important person in Barry's family. That's Barry's brother-in-law, Terry Matskin, who lives in San Ramon, I believe. Barry?
Yeah, in Danville, I just mentioned one quick thing. Prior to 9, he was a MDARC president for years, a couple years, and he was also the chair or co-chair of Pacificon a long time ago. Well, prior to 9/11, they had it at the Sheraton in Concord. There's a small private airport, and you used to walk across the tarmac to the building, to the sheds, the hangars, and that's where they have the vendors. Well, then 9/11 happened. Well, we weren't walking across any tarmac anymore. So Terry, he's in Danville, the city next to it. He did a lot of research, and he and his team figured out how to move it to the San Ramon Marriott. So please continue.
Yes, very, very good. And he's married to Barry's sister. And there's some more folks involved. Now here come, and we'll go quickly through this. These are some important people in Pacificon, people who were involved, such as Barry being one of them, your president, and who are involved in some of the most important parts of Pacificon. This is the chairperson of Pacificon, Julie Ma. She is heads the whole thing, and she's been doing this for about 5 or 6 years. Grant Bowman, there's Jim, there's Barry, who is in charge of forums this year. Annie, who's in charge of vendors. We have lots of vendors, 2 vendor halls. She organized that. It was her first year doing that.
Yeah, just go back one. This is going to be more than a half hour at the rate we're going. But I want to just mention something. You see the little candy ball at the left there? Most of it had little Hershey Kisses. And so Annie did the coolest thing. She got a little logo. It was probably she shrunk it down off of the website, off of the AWR website. It says Pacificon something. It was like the size of your little pinky, and she stuck it on the bottom of each one of those. Her and her significant other when they were watching TV one day. But what a cool idea! You're giving candy away to have a little bit of advertisement. Continue, Pete.
Very, very neat. Mike Patterson, longtime member of our club, who does a lot of stuff. By the way, behind, yes.
Sorry, Anna Snars also, even though he lives in the East Bay.
Ah, that's right. He's what, Pacific Coast?
The East Bay section manager.
That's it. Thank you. By the way, behind him is a big blow up of our one-page flyer. Every year, we have a one-page flyer for promotional purposes. It's thousands of them are handed out in various places. There's Barb Weissong, very important part of it. She's a treasurer and does a whole bunch of other things. Greg Eastep was at one time the chairperson of Pacificon. He moved down to San Diego about 18 years ago. He continues to fly up every year and plays an important role with Pacificon. This is the husband of the chairperson. This is Julie's husband, Jeff. Okay, we'll go through some of these things quickly. We have folks who volunteer to be security, try to make sure that only people with tickets are there and that nobody's stealing anything from the vendors. That has not been a problem, but anyways. There's Gordo, Mr. Gordon West. Just went blank. WB6NOA. He's a big name in ham radio. He's comes every year and conducts some forums. More security. That's me. Antenna seminar. So Friday, it's 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday is the antenna seminar and the vendors open up. And then we have an MDARC meeting that's open to the public in the evening. And these are the presentations that we had this year. It's an all-day thing. I won't read through them all now, but 1 hour each presentation, starts at 9 in the morning and it ends around 4:30. There's Trevor Hall, who organizes the antenna seminar, and we get about between 200 and 300 people who attend the seminar on Friday in a big hall. And this is one of the presenters. This is Tom Schiller, actually.
Yeah, I just mentioned that Tom used to own a Force 12 antennas. Then he sold it to another gentleman. Then his call is N6BT. He has N6BT antennas. He and his significant other, I don't know if they're married or not, doesn't matter.
That's right.
They work in Arizona. I think they moved into town. Yeah, I think we got to pick up the speed a little bit, at least.
Okay, folks at the antenna seminar. Special event station. Basically, that's a get on the air station where the Palo Alto Amateur Radio Association that sets it up for Pacificon every year. There's a big tent. They put up a big antenna. Here's the antenna. And there's a bunch of HF radios, and people come in, whether they're licensed or not. They can transmit under the supervision of the hams who are there, and they transmit and get a feeling for what HF radio feels like. So again, this is called a special event station. Here's one of the visitors operating one of the radios. Some more of that. There's CW. The kids come in and they get real excited when they talk to other kids in different parts of the country. They're just absolutely amazed. Breakfast with Gordo. That happens Saturday morning. First thing, I think 7 o'clock in the morning. Uh, Gordo does a great presentation every year. We get a big crowd for that. There's Gordon West again. That's called Gordo.
Okay, let me just tell you, what that is. Let's go back to where the baggie was. So go back one more. There we go. So he does a crazy ass thing. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. He takes a big ass pickle. I mean, big. He puts it across a key running 110 volts. And he keys it, and you can see this pickle with all the salt in the water starting to wiggle, and eventually it pops. But he's trying to show what CW is. Yeah, please continue. Oh, there you can see the pickle right there at the back.
There's the pickle.
Here's the pickle.
Right here's the pickle. Yeah. Yeah.
Salt brine.
It smokes.
It's great.
Pacificon usually coincides with the annual Scouts Jamboree on the Air and Jamboree on the Internet. We get about 100 Scouts who come in. They're allowed in for free. Anybody in a Scout uniform is allowed for free. And it's a very exciting part of Pacificon to have a lot of youth there. Also, they are conducting merit badge classes as part of Pacificon. So here's a electronics or radio merit badge class going on. And then they go to the special events station and they're shown and they're doing some hands-on radio work. They're allowed to talk on the radio with other scouts in other parts of the country. One of the scout leaders. This is
Go ahead.
This is our electronic kit building station where anybody, not just scouts, but a lot of youth come and they are working, they're soldering and putting together little electronic circuits to learn how to solder and get some hands-on experience with electronic circuits.
I just mentioned that, speaking of club tables, we're going to show one in a minute. Stars is Stacy, who is somewhat new hand. She, first time ever experienced getting to solder. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. And then there was some people at the QRP group that needed a little help to solder something, so they went over there. So the soldering kit piece was phenomenal. It really took off. Please continue, Pete.
Yes, here's our own MDark table and a bunch of club tables. USS Hornet Radio Clubs. There's one, Sierra Nevada Amateur Radio Society. That's you guys, SNARS.
Yeah. And a big thanks to both our guests. Just go back one. Stacy and Ken are here today. Each of their spouses did a really nice job of saying, hey, you guys go and support each other. Come back and tell me what happened after. So thanks to both of you for coming and helping us out. We got a lot. Oh, just go back one page, one screen. So you'll see on the right side, kind of middle right side, the NV Con hats that were 2018. We had a lot. We gave away 2 stories. One is a lot of people said 1 year they're having NV Con, the Nevada State Convention. Don't know the answer to that, but there seems to be interest. At least you give away free hats. The other thing is this quick story about capitalism. So there was another gentleman that they come out of Southern California, connectors and lots of stuff. And I walked down the way there and the guy's got a hat for sale for $2. And I go, how can you charge $2 and we're giving away free? Well, I guess that's capitalism. Please continue.
Okay. Here's the some more club tables. There's the ARRL table in the vendor hall, and there's Mr. Inderbitson, Bob Inderbitson. Well, there's Gordo and Bob Inderbitson, who's a high official in the ARRL. Here's some more ARRL folks who were there. He's the youth coordinator for ARRL, Steve Goodman. Can't remember his name.
Just go back one. That's the president of David. I don't know his call. And something A. That's the president of ARR Alpha. I had a chance to talk to him after.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should know that. Thank you. This is the Young Ladies Radio League. They did a forum. Parachute Mobile, they're amazing. I mean, we could do a whole forum on them. Uh, they're a bunch of ham radio people who jump out of airplanes and then speak while they're in free fall or while they're falling. They speak to ham radio operators on 2 meters and 440. Amazing. They also did the presentation at our Saturday evening banquet, did about a 45-minute presentation. Parachute Mobile.
I just want to mention there's a video, a different group, but there's a video online. I don't remember who it is. You look on YouTube where this guy's doing parachute mobile on 10 meters. And I mean, he's going, and he's got a little recorder, but a really wild thing. It gets a lot of press. Where are they out of? They're out of Byron, which is what, 60 miles? The crow flies up by the Delta.
Yeah, out beyond Pittsburgh and Antioch and Brentwood, out close to the San Joaquin County border, still in Contra Costa County. Yeah. Here's some more clubs.
I just want to say one quick thing about the clubs. You know, the vendors, they have sort of 3 or 4 prices. You know, there's the main vendors inside, like the big ones, Kenwood, those guys. And they have a smaller one in a different area. They have another price for the ones that are in the hall. And they do not charge for the nonprofits. The nonprofits mostly are clubs. And it's really about just getting the word out. We've been going there. SNARS has been going there for years, and we get a lot of interest. If you want to know more about it, maybe after you can come in. If I can ask Stacy and Ken pick their brain. Okay, back to you.
Okay, more clubs. This is the Alameda County Communications Team. They always come out with their emergency radio vehicle. LARC, Livermore Amateur Radio Club.
Are they the ones that put LARC the ones that put on the swap?
What?
Isn't LARC the one that puts on the swap meet on Sunday?
Yes. LARC puts on the swap meet on Sunday, every Pacificon. Yes. Oops. Here's Annie Lewis again. Summits on the Air table.
Okay, I think we'll go back one. I think we know this picture. Does anybody know who that might be, Derek? Oh, go back. The other one, Ford. I think Ford one. Yeah, is that Derek? We can't tell because he's turned around, but I think he was there and he was at the soda. Okay, please. That's one of our local guys here who's smiling. Go ahead there.
Here's some more electronic kit building that's run by Steve Rogie. He does a fantastic job with this every year. And some kids are there. They're just fascinated. There's usually adults there to help them and guide them, but they love doing this. Here's another young person getting helped. Adults are welcome too. They were making little circuits that created little flashing lights and rotating lights. And another circuit was part of an FM radio that they were working on. License testing. We have ongoing license testing for all levels, all 3 levels at Pacificon. Goes on all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And here are some folks taking their test. He was in charge of the testing team. Jim Brunk has been a member of the club for 100 years, and he's really involved with testing.
I just want to mention one quick thing about Jim. Just go back. Let me just say, if anybody needs to leave, because not that you're bored, but you have to, I understand. We have a lot of cool pictures. Jim does something called the long sheet. It's an 8.5 by 17, 14. Maybe 17 is
17.
And so when you register, when you pick up your registration package, whether you pay then or you pay ahead of time, they give you a bunch of stuff, and there's this fold out, it's long about 17 inches, and it has everything in one. It has all the forums, it has the information, it has everything. And so he's the guy that helps put that together. I just say there is an enormous amount of work behind the scenes. I say that because if we were to do another NVCon, which would be fun, you need a whole bunch of people to help out. Okay, I'll let you get back. I'll stop blabbering.
And Pacificon, as we said, it's like a three-ring circus. There's all kinds of stuff going on at the same time. And without Jim's broadsheet that Barry described, you wouldn't know what's going on, where, and when. But it shows the layout of the rooms and the schedules for everything. And that's what gives you a guide as to what you want to go see and when. He's in charge of MDARC's testing program, Larry Loomer.
Now, I'll just say, Larry, I just go back somewhere along the line with the Alcatraz Twins, not in the early days, but the middle to the latter days. I got to know him. So, it just, one of the things that's amazing is we have the same thing in SNARS. It's the camaraderie. It's the willing to help. And it's just so good. Please continue.
Absolutely. It's occurred to me many times. Ham radio people, you don't have to be a really good person to be a ham radio operator, but it seems like ham radio groups are just good. They just help each other. I know I'm generalizing, but it's just a great group of people with lots of different skills and abilities. Lunch on the patio, Saturday, people eat on the patio. And my wife and I actually provided some music for this is people getting their food. My wife and I play guitar, and my wife plays really good tambourine and maracas. So we provided the music for the lunch on the patio. Here are folks eating lunch. There's Dave Kassler who did a forum that was filled with people. Here's people with my wife and I in the background. This is us playing there. And some more people eating lunch. There's Ed Fong, the famous 2-meter 440 antenna maker. He makes an incredible antenna.
We've had him talk, I think, twice over the last few years here.
Oh, good. One-day technician class. We have a ham cram. We call it the one-day technician class. People are 8 hours in class, and then they can take their license test when the 8 hours are done right away while it's fresh on their mind. We get about 70% of the people pass that test, and without doing any previous study. This is the class going on, and one of our 2 instructors. He started this, Rich Harrington. He started this about 30 years ago. He was one of the pioneers of doing ham crams, and he's still doing it. He's still doing it now at Pacificon.
Well,
the 2 instructors. Special events nighttime. Again, that's the get on the air at night times. This is how the hotel looks when it's dark. I use my Canon camera, and there happened to be a full moon that night. I used my Canon camera, handheld, and took a picture of the moon. There's the special event station at nighttime. Very exciting, listening to those signals come in with lots of static and crackling. Very exciting at night. Technical forums. Again, this was what Barry organized. And here, just a few quick pictures. This is Dave Kassler's forum. Lots of people. Larry Bradley was conducting the MDARC meeting on Friday evening. Other forums. This is just a small number of forums, but there were a lot more forums than what we have photos here. This is the young ladies ham radio operators forum. We have a forum called Ham Radio 101 201, which is meant for new hams, new technicians, and new generals, and it goes over the very basics, and it goes on for 4 hours. It goes through various topics for new hams. Vendor halls. We've got 2 vendor halls filled with vendors. This is what helps sponsor Pacificon. They have to pay for their tables. They pay for different amounts and depending on the size of the table in the room. So here are some of the photos of the vendors. Flex Radio, excited little kid, Yesu, Ellacraft, Impulse Electronics. I'll go through it quickly. HRO, of course.
The screen to the 12-volt guys.
Say it again.
Okay, just go back to the 2P. One more. 12-volt is I think it's a new company. A fellow by the name of Kevin. He used to be the manager for PowerWorks. And he started, we're going to end up. He started this, and I just want to say, Tony sends me a text. He says, please pick up the 2 power supplies they donated to STARS. So somehow we got a couple of 12-volt power supplies, and that was there. Hey, Pete, we're almost coming to the top of the hour. Why don't you go just through this one section, and then we'll have to stop for now, okay?
Let me do it real fast, okay? Vendors, hospitality for the staff, transmitter hunt, T-hunt, where people have little radios and they're searching for a hidden transmitter. Prizes, all kinds of prize drawings, more vendors. Our dinner banquet, Saturday night. We have about 200 people who come to that. We always have, there are awards, there are speakers.
I just want to say one thing, go back one slide. As many of you know, unfortunately, we lost our friend of Silent Key, Brian, K7BNV. He was helping me with just go back one slide there if you can. Yeah, the one with the picture on right there. Whatever, you'll figure it out. No, the one with the slide, the picture up on the screen.
Of Brian?
Not of Brian, but just of anything. That's fine, it'll work. So anyway, he passed away in the process, and it was sad. But we got some nice pictures there, and they did a nice dedication to him. So that was a nice way to honor him at Pacificon. Oh, go back to Barry, the other fellow that was one of the photographers. I think Barry, we're going to stop right here, Pete, because we're out of time. This is a good place to stop. Do you want to just wrap up and talk about how you and Barry work together, and then we'll just have to call it a wrap for now?
Okay. Yeah, Barry and I were the photographers. This is Barry Isaacs, not Barry Bettman. We've been the photographers for years. I'll just say taking photos there is a real challenge because you can't use flash. The lights are turned down for the PowerPoint presentations. And the lighting in the hotel for photography is real greeny, yellowy. So it requires a lot of post-processing. It requires very high use of high ISOs to get adequate shutter speed so everything's not blurry. It's a real challenge. It involves weeks of post-processing to get the photos to look decent. Barry the 2 of us work really well together. So
yeah, I just say it's amazing. Pete and I talked about this. It's amazing because they just shoot a whole bunch of pictures and later they coordinate it together. What you're seeing is, just go back one. I think there's the picture of Brian or the thing.
There,
go back
there it is.
Right there.
Yeah.
So that was a little tribute to Brian. Just to say on the pictures, they shoot all these pictures and then they somehow get together later and make magic. So with that, I'm going to thank Pete for you to put on. I know we have a lot of pictures, and thank you much. Anything you want to say in closing, Pete?
No, thank you again for inviting me, Barry. And it sounds like you guys got a very exciting club up there. It's fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We invite you to Pacificon next year. It's the second. Usually it's the 3rd weekend. Next year it's the 2nd weekend of October. I forgot the exact. Oh, wait a second. We actually have hang on one second.
It's your last slide, I think.
Yeah. Okay, if you want more information about Pacificon or you want a link to these photos, go to the Pacificon website, www.pacificon.org. And yeah, those dates are this year's Pacificon, not next year's. But if you go to
No, I think there
pacificon.org,
might be next year, in 2025. I just want to say one final thing. What year was that? 2000 and
oh, that is
something, 12?
25.
Oh, okay, I think 2008, I might be wrong on the year. Pacificon and San Ramon in the Bay Area could not do it for whatever reason. So we were doing MCOM West, this is before SVQSO, and we were doing it at one of the hotels. And so this is before I was involved on the board. And so they came to us, us SARS, and we said, hey, how can we marry this thing together? So for 1 year, and I think it was March or April of that year, we did a combination of MCOM West and Pacificon. So what a nice way of being able to help people. Hey, Pete, thank you very much. Sure appreciate it. I'm going to stop the recording for now and just hang on. This completes the presentation for December 7th, 2024.